Thank you. Chair now recognizes Ms. Kelly for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank the witnesses. Illinois, we testify storyteller Brittany found out that she was pregnant at age 22, shortly after the birth of her third daughter. She couldn't afford another child at that time, physically, emotionally, or financially. She was working part-time and had decided she wanted to go back to school to finish her degree. She couldn't see herself moving forward with another child, and she knew she needed an abortion. Medicaid wouldn't cover the $900 procedure, which is more than she made in a month. Through the help of her family and the Chicago Abortion Fund, Brittany was able to afford the abortion and now works as an advocate for others in similar situations. Abortion access is essential to the well-being of all women, yet states have continuously erected barriers that make it particularly challenging for women of color, and particularly Black women, to access the care and services they need to make informed decisions about their pregnancy options. With Dobbs now the law of the land, these barriers will only grow. Ms. Bracy Sherman, what have you heard from your storytellers about the disproportionate impacts that pre-Dobbs abortion restrictions have had on Black women, Indigenous women, and other women of color?
Thank you so much, and I'm proud to be from the great state of Illinois. I love that you read Brittany's story because Brittany is a dear friend and a storyteller with We Testify, and she's talked publicly not only about the abortion that she's had, but also the experiences of when she was denied an abortion because Medicaid didn't cover it. And she was forced to continue a pregnancy to term. And while she loves her daughter, it was really difficult. She ended up actually having a lot of complications during her pregnancy, including postpartum depression and preterm labor. So it was actually a really, really difficult pregnancy on top of the mental health impact of being forced to continue a pregnancy that you did not want to carry to term. That is why she is an activist, to make sure that everyone is able to decide if, when, and how to grow their families. Since the Dobbs decision, and even before that, because Texas's SB 8 was criminalizing helping people get abortions, I've heard from so many people, including other We Testify storytellers, who needed abortions and so had to either fly out of state or self-manage at home, which, as I mentioned earlier, is really safe, but it can be a crime in some states. I also, as I mentioned earlier, volunteer to help people who are traveling for their abortions, and I definitely receive emails that say, if you help this person, you could be criminalized for helping them. And I really cannot imagine how that is pro-life, that you would criminalize someone for showing up with love and care to make sure that they get the health care that they need.
Thank you. And yes, Illinois is an oasis in very red sand. Dr. Guerrero, in your testimony, you suggest that barriers to abortion access compound ways that people of color are routinely denied their civil and human rights. How has racism and structural inequalities affected Black, Indigenous, and women of color's ability to access pregnancy-related care, including abortion care?
Absolutely. As I mentioned before, 77% of our clients experience some kind of burden related to abortion restrictions, and that includes transportation, childcare for multiple appointments, legal barriers, time off work, and the cost of needing to pay for the procedure out of pocket. Out of that 77%, 59% of those people are people of color. At minimum, all of our clients are reaching out to us because they don't have other financial support, and 63% of those people are people of color. So it disproportionately impacts those marginalized communities.
You know, I wanted to say, people have talked about contradictions, and I feel like it's very interesting that we want to give states the right to decide about women, but the Supreme Court took New York State's right to decide about guns, which, you know, if you're pro-life, you should really care about what's going on in America, this uniquely American violent problem. The other thing is, the question was asked about respecting the conscience of people that think, that are following their conscience about a woman's right to choose and not giving them the drugs or whatever. But what about the people who are following their conscience that they think women have the right to choose? What about their decisions? It just seems like we only care about it one way. And with that, I yield back. Thank you so much.
Thank the gentlelady. Mr. Soto, you're now recognized for 5 minutes.